So I offer my warm greetings and my warm wishes for this meditation session. And it's a very fortunate thing, I believe, to be able to sit and meditate. I don't take it for granted, even though I've been doing it for my adult life. To be able to connect with oneself, connect with reality, with life, with freedom, with intimacy, with love, with appreciation, with gratitude, with ease, and with honesty, with an honest connection to what's really happening for us. The truthfulness of the moment, even if it's difficult. So many things that meditation can do, and different sittings, different ways that it's fortunate to sit here with our experience. So the topic of this week is equanimity. And one of the things that supports equanimity is concentration, which for the purpose of this meditation, I'll define as a singleness of purpose or singleness of aim, that or a steadiness of aim. And the analogy for it is that of a boat moving through the water, and the boat is heading maybe to harbor, and it's a clear spot there where it's heading towards, and it might be far out at sea, but it knows it sees the harbor, and it just heads steadily for that harbor. And as it does so, all kinds of waves and water and maybe driftwood or different things, small things, are floating in the water. And but the boat stays steady on its point and allows the water just to wash off the side of the hull. And the point of the water just kind of cuts through, of the boat to the bow, cuts through the water, and with a steadiness and aim for where it's going. And whatever else it encounters with the water just washes off to the side. And it's not, I don't think of it as being dismissive of the water. The boat needs the water to float and to be able to move. And so and it's not aversive of the water, and it's just kind of steadily not stopping for the water, and is moving ahead and letting everything just wash by its hull. So in the same way, it's possible to sit with the steadiness of aim on the breathing. And it's not necessarily easy to keep the steadiness, but the steadiness of returning, the steadiness of beginning again, the steadiness of just resting and staying. And this is the harbor, this is the refuge here with the breathing. And all kinds of things might arise, and allow it to just wash right by. Allow it to just be what it is. Don't have to be against it or reactive to it or judge it or get excited by it. Just let it wash by. And if it is difficult that arises, there's no need to get involved with it as a difficulty. If it's a joy, no reason to get involved with it as a joy. Just hold the steadiness with the breathing. And that way, the tendency to get excited or agitated, activated by the things that float by in the water, maybe it won't activate you, and the mind will stay steady and equanimous about all things that wash by, that float by. So to take a meditation posture and to gently close your eyes. And as you are right now, can you allow for a gentling of your innards, gentling of your being, your body, perhaps by relaxing the muscles that are tense and the ways in which you are, when the muscles are tense, it's kind of like we're holding ourselves against reality, away from it, even away from ourselves. To relax as deeply as is possible for you, while sitting upright or without slumping in any way. Softening all around the face that works so much at expressing ourselves to others and to life and responding and reacting. Giving the face a vacation. Letting the muscles of the face release from the skull. To soften and relax the shoulders. Releasing and allowing the pull of gravity on the shoulders. And to maybe soften in the chest. Maybe something just behind the rib cage can settle back. Settle back and down. As if what's behind the chest, the rib cage, can also relax and come to rest. In the muscles that are behind the skin of your belly, deeper than where your skin touches your clothes. To see if the belly muscles can relax, soften. So there isn't a pulling away, pulling backwards in the belly. And the hands and the arms can soften. And the mind. Let's see if you can bring a gentleness to the mind. A simple kindness, and easy kindness, and a willingness to be here in your body, aware and attentive, curious, appreciating the opportunity to be here with your lived experience. And then within your body, as part of your body, becoming aware of your breathing. Become aware of how your body experiences breathing. So you're not so much in the control tower looking at the breathing, but you're in your body. You're in the boat, feeling the gentle movements of breathing, very slight, gentle rocking of the body boat as you breathe. And gently but determinedly set your course, your aim on your breathing. Experiencing the sensations in the body, in the belly, the chest, or the nose, wherever it's easy for you. Experiencing those sensations, almost from the inside of the sensations, an intimacy. And as you sit here, settling down into the experience of breathing. Every time you exhale, letting go of your thoughts, and reestablish the aim, the connection to your breathing. In guiding a boat, piloting a boat through water, the pilot is constantly making ever small adjustments, always attentive, always present, heading for the harbor, and heading for the course. Stay with your breathing. Mind wanders off, come back. Mind wanders to the left, come back. Mind wanders to the right, come back. Mind wanders up into the head. Every time you exhale, reset the course. Every time you inhale, reset the course on the breathing. Just breathing. Relaxing the thinking mind, the brain, so you can settle in to the journey of just being with the breath. And allow everything else that arises to wash right by. No need to get involved or react to whatever's happening. If you can just stay with the breathing, let everything else wash by. Like a boat heading straight through the water, letting the water just wash off the sides of the boat. Leaving a wake as things are left behind. Gently, lovingly, determinedly hold your course, steadily being with your breathing. Every in-breath and out-breath, hold the course with the breathing and letting your thoughts that have come up, be sure to let them just wash right by. Don't be involved in them. Just be involved with your breathing. Give no thought, no concern with the mind that wanders off in thought. As soon as you notice, let it wash through. As soon as you notice, begin again with your breathing, steadying yourself on the breathing in and breathing out. If there are strong emotions that pull you away from the breathing, see if you can let those just wash by for however long they're there, wave after wave. And hold the course on the breathing, not being bothered by anything. When the mind is equanimous, or not bothered by all the water that washes by, it's easier to have a steadiness of purpose, to just hold the course with what's important, not with attachment or aggression, but with an ease and a unbotheredness. And whatever degree of concentration and equanimity that arises from meditation, it's one of the great things to turn that ability to hold a steady aim and turn it towards having goodwill and care for others. To now arouse the thoughts, the intentions, and the wishes for the welfare and happiness of others. A steady gaze of care and kindness, as if you're sitting on a hill in a relaxed, easy way under an oak tree, and you can gaze out across the world, and you have the good fortune to be able to gaze with care, kindness, and love for all beings. And to consider how today you might express your steadiness of purpose for the purpose of supporting others, lightening their load, caring for them, bringing joy and happiness. How is it that how you experience yourself in meditation can bring an equanimity and unbotheredness and ease to meeting the challenges of this world? May it be that we come into this world that's so challenged with the steadiness of care and love and generosity. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy and safe. May all beings be free. So the topic for today is to continue the discussion from yesterday. So the general topic is equanimity, and equanimity is a form of care or love for the world, for others, and to not be all bothered by what's going on with others and people and ourselves, and to be able to keep a kind of steadiness of mind, calmness or ease of mind, so that our love is not agitated by the challenges of this world, the challenges of people and others, what goes on. And in particular, as I've been saying, is the challenges so that the mind doesn't get caught up in pursuing, engaging, doing, trying to fix all kinds of things that disturb our love and equanimity, getting too quickly wanting to fix things. And the other is not getting caught up in repulsion, pushing away, and not being able to stay present or going away from what's going on, closing down. But to be able to stay open and wise without anxiously getting involved unnecessarily or inappropriately when we can't do anything, when it's not appropriate for us to try to be involved or fix or do something. And there's many reasons for that, why it's not appropriate to actually actively get involved. One is that sometimes it's better to let people find their own way. And we can offer our support in terms of our presence and our appreciation and our encouragement. But if we do everything for other people, then we don't let them grow strong. there's this beautiful story that went around some years ago, and of a person, I don't know if it's just made up or true, but it's a person who comes across a cocoon that a butterfly is about to be born, to come out of, and the butterfly is struggling to come out of the cocoon, and the caring person wants to help, and so kind of pulls in some of the threads to loosen up the space so the butterfly can come out. And when the butterfly finally comes out, the butterfly falls to the ground and never flies and dies. And what the caring person doesn't know is that only in the struggle to get free of the cocoon that the butterfly lubricates its wings enough to be able to fly properly. And so the struggle is needed for the butterfly. And so one of the reasons not to get too involved in other people's struggles is when and only when, for example, when not only, but when they need to kind of be left alone to let them find their own way and learn and develop and strengthen. And if we do it for them, they never grow. They never face themselves. And it's especially true spiritually. If someone fixes all our problems for us, we'll never develop the insight and the capacity and the inner strength to address the problems for ourselves. And so anyway, there's many reasons to develop this, but one of the things that gets in the way of staying equanimous and loving and unagitated is, for many people, is a sense of responsibility. And certainly I identify with this. It's one of my Achilles' heels, has been, maybe still is a little bit, the sense of being responsible for too many things, responsible for other people, how they feel, and needing to somehow get involved. And so in terms of allowing people the autonomy to choose, make their own actions and choices, and not realizing it's not up to us what choices they make. We can support them, we can offer guidance and advice, but ultimately people make choices for themselves. And to take responsibility for how people feel and the outcomes of people's lives too much is to get agitated, is to lose the equanimity, and in some ways also lose the clarity of love, the clarity of goodwill that can be there when responsibility kicks in kind of an unhealthy way. So in order to have this, maintain a kind of equanimous care and love and goodwill, for some of us it's useful to look at this topic of responsibility. And in this regard, I find it interesting that this English word responsibility, has a wide range of meanings that, as far as I can tell, is different in some other countries. I read once that one of the first people to study the Iroquois nation found out that, claimed that there was no word in that language for responsibility, but they seemed to have a very successful and noble civilization without the word responsibility. If you look in the Pali dictionary, Pali English dictionary, there's there's only a small handful, 2, 3, 4 words that the Englishmen who made the dictionary over 100 years ago chose to add the word responsibility as one of its meanings. But those words, the main meanings are things like burden. And so, burden isn't quite, I think, a satisfying definition for the English word responsibility. And so there's almost as if that word responsibility doesn't quite work in the languages of the Buddha. And I speak Norwegian, and in Norwegian, the word for responsibility is ansvar, which means to answer. It's a cognate of the English word answer, ansvar. And it's probably a closer in meaning to maybe the French or Italian words for rispondere, that than the English word responsibility. In Norwegian, the connotations of ansvar means what you have to answer for, what you're accountable for. And whereas the word, there's a different word for obligation or duty. In Norwegian, it's plikt, and so and so these are two different words. Whereas in English, it seems to me that the idea of obligation, duty, and accountability are all kind of in the range of meanings of responsibility. So much so that responsibility often comes across as something we're obligated to do. We have a responsibility to do something, whereas in the Norwegian word ansvar is that we're accountable for what we do. We have to answer for what we do. So if we take English word responsibility to mean that we're responsible for our actions, that's a kind of goes clearly along with Buddhist ways of thinking, that we're responsible for how we act and what we do, the choices we make, and we're responsible for the outcome. We're certainly responsible for making the choices and doing the act, but we're responsible and we're accountable to the outcome. And so what it's not in Buddhism is this idea that we carry with us an innate obligation and duty to become free, to be loving, to be kind, to be responsible for other people. That responsibility is not this weight that we carry with us. And in some ways, Buddhist practice frees us from a certain understanding of responsibility, the sense of obligation and duty. As far as I can tell, there doesn't come from Buddhism, teachings of the Buddha, any sense of obligation in doing the spiritual practice in life. There's no obligation to be loving. There's no obligation to be generous. There's no obligation to be caring for other people. It's not a duty. It is an opportunity. It is a choice. It is something we might want to do, but not because we're obligated to do it. And the only reason we have obligation in Buddhism is if we've made a promise, a vow, a commitment, or if we have a purpose that we want to fulfill, then kind of, I don't know if obligation is the right word, but certain purposes require certain things. If you want to discover the benefits of meditation and really dedicate your life to really live out the benefits of meditation, that requires, maybe you could say we're obligated then, but maybe I wouldn't, but it requires that we meditate. And but this idea that Buddhism very much frees us from this sense of obligation and duty in favor of being accountable for the choices we make and the actions we do, where we have to answer for the consequences of them for ourselves, as do other people. And this sense of freedom from this kind of obligatory responsibility means that we can enter into different situations kind of with a fresh mind, with a clear mind, ready to respond. We have an ability to respond, ready to meet the situation as it is, but without carrying with us the kind of ideations and notions and ideas of what we have to do and should do that are often a trigger for reactivity, for being upset that things don't go along, or that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm obligated to be a certain way in this situation. But to enter any situation without obligation, and then to respond as is appropriate, to meet it and see what the choices are, it can help with this equanimity. It's easier then perhaps to love, because then love is not burdened by duty, by that we have to be a certain way, we have to respond a certain way, we have to fix the situation. And so we can just be there and figure out what's needed. And so the equanimity, love of equanimity, the equanimity brahmaviharas, is often very valuable to be the first way in which we meet a person, first way in which we meet a situation. It's a kind of the first way of discovering and finding out what's there. If we enter into a new situation or meet a new person, And we're just automatically being compassionate for them before we even know them. It's a little bit burdensome for them. And certainly we're kind of activated. Or if we're already feeling joy before we know anything about them, we might actually do them a disservice if someone they love just died. And we just kind of already just jumping forth with our appreciation, how wonderful they are. Or if we just have too much goodwill for them before a chance for there to be some real connection and knowledge and see something in them we can appreciate, also is kind of off. So this ability to know what the equanimous love or non-reactive love that doesn't carry any responsibility and obligation with it, but is just there, like an open door that's there, ready to meet whoever comes through that door, and then respond accordingly. So if some of you can be, a little bit like me with an Achilles heel of the responsibility that is obligation or duty, to really develop this equanimity brahmaviharas, it helps to kind of see that we do this and not be caught by it, and let it just be water that washes by as you hold yourself steady in your love and your care for the world. Don't be tripped up by obligation and duty, even if other people expect that of you. Why should they? And why should we believe them that's how it has to be? It's possible to love and be generous and kind and have very rich and warm relationships without any sense of duty and obligation, unless you've made promises. So I hope this is helpful, and as I explore this topic of equanimity, and we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.